Under the Neon Moon. Las Vegas Stories.
They flagged my win at 2:07 a.m., and the first thing the cage supervisor did was smile at me like I was a problem he'd solved before. Not angry. Not rude. Just practiced. He slid my stack of chips back under the glass, lined them up with the edge like he was squaring paperwork, and said, "Sir, we're going to need to take a few minutes." "A few minutes for what?" I asked. His smile didn't change. "Verification." Behind me, the late-night casino crowd kept moving. A drunk couple argued about directions. A guy in a hoodie counted a wad of 20s like he was trying to remember how numbers work. Somewhere in the distance, a slot machine screamed its victory song. But at the cage window, the air went quiet. I leaned in. "I just want to cash out." "I understand," he said. "And we will. I just need you to step to the side." I looked down at the rack of plaques and chips I'd carried over like a newborn. The numbers still didn't feel real in my head. My hands were steady, but I could feel my pulse in my throat. "Is there a problem?" I asked. His eyes flicked up to mine, soft and patient. "Not unless you make it one." Then he turned slightly, pressed a button under the counter, and a side door opened like a mouth. A security guard appeared, not rushed, not threatening. "Just there. Right this way, sir," the guard said. And that's when the thought landed, heavy and clean. If this gets weird, it's going to get weird fast. 6 hours earlier, I wasn't thinking about flags or verification or little side doors behind the cage. I was thinking about a number. 3. Not 300,000. Just 3. Because my whole plan for the night was built around a simple rule: if I went down 3 buy-ins, I was done. Not take a walk. Not cool off. Done. I learned the hard way that Vegas doesn't punish arrogance right away. It rewards it, just enough, then collects with interest. So I came in with rules. I always do. That's why the win wasn't luck. It was process. And that's also why the complication hit so hard. Because process doesn't protect you from visibility. I shouldn't have been in Vegas at all. That part matters. Not because I'm hiding from the law. I'm not. I'm not running cons. I'm not counting cards in a trench coat. But I wasn't supposed to be here. I told my girlfriend, Hannah, I was in Phoenix for a work thing. A one-day vendor meet. Boring. Safe. Forgettable. And the lie wasn't even creative. "Phoenix," I said Thursday night while she packed our dishwasher like she was solving a puzzle. She didn't look up. "Bring me back something dumb." "I will," I said. She smiled. "Don't gamble." "I won't," I lied. It slipped out clean because it was easier than explaining the truth. The truth was that my buddy Eli had called me 2 weeks ago with the kind of excitement that's always half trouble. "Drew," he said, "I found a soft spot." "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means there's a high-limit room where the whales are drunk and the floor is asleep," he said. "And the limits are big enough to matter." I snorted. "Everything matters until it doesn't." Eli laughed. "That's why I'm calling you. You don't tilt." "I do tilt," I said. "Not like me," he replied. "You tilt quietly and then you leave. That's a superpower." Eli had 2 modes, confident and broke. Sometimes both at once. "What game?" I asked. He lowered his voice like somebody was listening. "Baccarat." I paused. "I don't play baccarat." "You don't play anything in Vegas," Eli said. "That's the problem." "It's not a problem," I said. "It's a boundary. It's a missed opportunity," he replied. I should have hung up right there. Instead I said, "Talk." Eli's pitch was annoyingly reasonable. He wasn't promising a system. He wasn't selling magic. He wasn't doing that thing guys do where they say do like the universe owes them a comeback. He was talking about conditions. "Friday nights," he said, "the room fills with convention people who want to feel important. They don't know the rhythms. They chase. They press. They don't quit." "That doesn't change the game," I said. "No," Eli agreed. "But it changes the way the table plays. And if you're disciplined, you can catch the wave and get out." I sat on my couch at home, looking at the picture of Hannah and me on my bookshelf from last year's beach trip. We looked sunburnt and happy and normal. "How much are you bringing?" I asked. Eli didn't answer right away. Then he said, 50. I barked a laugh. 50,000? Yeah. "Eli, you don't have 50,000. "I don't," he admitted. "But my cousin." "Stop," I said immediately. "No borrowed bankroll." "It's not borrowed," he said quickly. "It's staked. That's borrowed with extra steps. It's an investment," he insisted. I rubbed my forehead. Why are you even calling me? I asked. If you've got a stake, play it. Because I need you, he said. Not to play my money. To keep me from doing something stupid when I'm up. I paused. That hit a little too close. Eli had a talent for turning wins into losses with one decision. He'd feel invincible and then he'd take one more shot like it was a heroic act. Also, he added, I'm not asking you to risk 50. Okay, I said. What are you asking? 10, he said. 10,000. Not comfortable, but not insane. Still enough to sting. Still enough to matter. You win 10 grand, I said, and you think you're a genius. Not 10, Eli said. I'm talking about a real score. I didn't respond. He filled the silence. I've seen the room, he said. I've seen how they play. I've watched. If we run it right, if we leave when we're supposed to, this could change things. Change what? I asked. My debt, he said quickly. Your everything. I heard it. The part he didn't say. Your everything. My rent. My car payment. Hannah's pressure about next steps. The steady, quiet stress of living like one surprise bill could kick your life sideways. Eli knew how to press the right bruise. Drew, he said, softer now, I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm asking for one weekend where you don't play small. That line stuck. Because my whole life, I play small. Not because I'm timid. Because I've seen what big swings do to people. But there's a difference between playing small and living scared. And Eli knew I was right on that edge. We flew in Friday afternoon. I told Hannah I'd be unreachable because of meetings. She rolled her eyes. Text me when you land. I will, I said. I did text her. Just not from Phoenix. Me, landed. Busy already. Miss you. Hannah, don't do dumb stuff. Me, never. Eli watched me send it and smirked. You're such a good liar. I'm not a good liar, I said. I'm just not proud of this. He shrugged like pride was optional. We checked into a mid-tier place off the strip. Nothing flashy. Nothing that felt like a celebration. Eli said it was intentional. Less temptation, he said. Or less visibility, I replied. Eli pointed at me. Exactly. That should have been my second warning sign. Because anyone who starts thinking about visibility before they even gamble already knows they're walking into something that can echo. We ate a late dinner. We walked the strip without stopping. No drinks. No hype. Eli kept bouncing his knee every time we sat down. You're nervous, I said. I'm excited, he corrected. Same chemical, I told him. At 9:40 p.m., we stepped into the high-limit room at the Sable Crown. That's what I'm calling it. Not because I'm trying to be mysterious. Because when a casino is part of a story where things get ugly, you don't drag a real name into it. The Sable Crown had all the signs of money trying not to look like money. Quiet carpet. Soft lighting. No clocks. No windows. Tables spaced far enough apart that you could lose 5 figures without an audience. A hostess in a sleek black dress smiled at us like she'd seen our type before. Good evening, she said. Are you joining a game? Eli answered too quickly. Yes. Baccarat. She scanned us. Her eyes lingered on Eli's watch, then my shoes, then my posture. Minimum is 500, she said. Max is 25,000. Eli glanced at me like he wanted to show off. I didn't react. Any preference? The hostess asked. Eli said, whatever's hot. I winced. The hostess didn't. She nodded politely like he'd ordered a medium steak and led us to a table with 2 older men and a woman in a white blazer who looked like she'd never been told no. The dealer's hands were clean and fast. Eli leaned toward me and whispered, we don't need to play big right away. We just need to get in rhythm. Say that again louder so the universe hears you, I murmured. Eli smiled. See? That's why you're here. We bought in. Eli for 50. Me for 10. The dealer counted the plaques with a calm that made my stomach churn. When you play low stakes, money is abstract. At these numbers, you can feel it. It has weight. It has heat. It has consequences. Eli placed the first bet, 1,000 on Banker. He looked at me. With me? I watched the table. Watched the other players. Watched the cadence of their decisions. Then I placed 500 on Banker. Not because Banker is better. Not because of superstition. Because it kept me aligned with Eli while I watched. The dealer drew. Banker won. Eli grinned. Okay, he said. Okay. I didn't grin. I just stacked the plaque and stayed calm. For the first hour, we did exactly what we said we'd do. Small relative bets. Controlled presses. No chasing. Eli tried once to jump to 10,000 after a streak, and I put my hand on his wrist. No, I said. He frowned. Why not? Because you're excited, I said. Not because you see anything. He leaned back, annoyed, then nodded slowly. Fine, he said. At 11:15, we were both up. Not life-changing. But enough to feel it. Eli was up 12. I was up 4. He looked at me like a kid showing his report card. We could leave, I said. He laughed. Leave now? Yes, I said. That was the plan. Eli's eyes slid toward the woman in the white blazer. She had a stack that looked like a sculpture. She was playing fast and loud, pressing like she was mad at the table. She's down, Eli whispered. She's chasing. So what? I said. So we can catch it, he said. We're on the right side. That's not a real sentence, I told him. Eli smiled. You talk like you're above this, but you're here. He wasn't wrong. And I hated that. The wind didn't come in one burst. It came in layers. At midnight, the table changed. One older man left. Another took his seat, mid-30s, sharp suit, too much cologne, eyes already glazed. He bought in for $100 like it was a bar tab. The dealer didn't blink. The hostess didn't blink. But I felt it like a pressure shift in my ears. The new guy, Scott, started throwing out bets like he was angry. 10 on player, he said. He lost. 20 on player. Lost. 25 on player. Won, finally, and laughed like he'd conquered physics. Eli leaned in. He's going to whip the table, he whispered. We just ride. We don't ride anything, I whispered back. We follow our plan. Eli nodded, but his foot was bouncing again. Then Scott did something that mattered. He started tipping the dealer big on wins. 1,000 here. 2,000 there. The dealer's face stayed neutral, but the room noticed. The hostess circled closer. A floor supervisor stopped at the edge of the table, watching. And Scott, seeing attention, leaned into it. Louder bets. Bigger gestures. More bravado. Visibility. It changes people. Eli saw it too. His eyes lit up. This is it, he whispered. This is where the room gets loose. Loose doesn't mean favorable, I said. Eli ignored me and pushed out 5,000 on banker. I matched at 2,000. The hand ran. Banker won. Scott groaned and slapped a plaque down. 25 on player, he snapped. Eli's eyes flicked to me like he wanted permission. I didn't give it. But I also didn't stop him. And that was my first real mistake. Because I was up. Because I felt stable. Because part of me wanted to see what big felt like for once. Eli pressed to 10. I went to 5. Banker won again. Scott swore and pushed another 25 on player like he was arguing with reality. Eli laughed under his breath. He's fighting. And the thing about people who fight tables is they don't just lose. They radiate heat. They pull the whole room into their mood. The bets got bigger. The hands got faster. The dealer's cadence tightened like he was trying to keep the game from becoming a spectacle. At 1:20 a.m., I looked down at my stack and felt my stomach shift. I was up more than I'd ever been up in one session. Not 10 grand. Not 20. I was up 90. Eli was up even more. He leaned close, breath hot. Drew, he whispered, we're going to crack this. Don't say that, I said. He smiled. You see it though. I did see something. Not patterns in the cards. Patterns in people. Scott was chasing. The woman in white was tilted. The dealer was tired. The floor was watching. And Eli was getting high on the numbers. That's not a moral statement. That's chemistry. And chemistry is dangerous. At 1:47 a.m., Scott stood up suddenly. I need a drink, he said loudly. He pointed at the hostess. Bring me the good stuff. The hostess smiled. Of course. Scott turned toward the table again and leaned in like he was sharing a secret with strangers. You know what's funny, he said, voice low but carrying, I'm supposed to be in San Jose right now. The woman in white glanced up, irritated. Then why aren't you? Scott grinned. Because my wife thinks I'm in San Jose. Eli laughed once. I didn't. Scott looked at us. You guys married? Eli shook his head too fast. No. Scott's eyes landed on me. Girlfriend, I said. Scott nodded like he approved. Good, he said. Then you can actually enjoy your money. I felt something tighten in my chest. Because I hadn't enjoyed anything tonight. I'd felt pressure. Focus. A quiet, relentless tension. And now, hearing Scott talk about lying like it was a perk, I thought of Hannah's text. Don't do dumb stuff. I looked at Eli. We should leave. Eli stared at my stack. After the next shoe. No, I said. Eli's jaw flexed. Drew. Now, I said. Eli hesitated. And that hesitation is where everything broke. Because right then, the dealer burned and turned the next hand. And it was one of those moments where the entire table leaned in, like the room itself held its breath. Eli whispered, just one more. And the truth is. I agreed. Not out loud. But with my hands. I pushed out 10,000 on banker. Eli pushed out 25. Scott, back from wherever he'd gone, slammed 25 on player again, like he was locked into a duel. The woman in white pushed out 15 on player, eyes sharp and annoyed like she was tired of losing. The dealer dealt 2 cards. Then 2. Then the drawing card. Banker drew. Player stood. The dealer turned the banker total. 9. A natural. The table reacted, not with cheers, but with a collective exhale. Eli's stack jumped. Mine jumped. Scott stared at the felt like it had insulted his family. The woman in white went very still. And I felt it, a sudden, unreal lightness, because I looked down and did the math twice. My stack wasn't 90 up anymore. It was. Way beyond that. Because we had pressed at the right times. Because we hadn't chased. Because Scott had been donating momentum like a furnace. I whispered, almost involuntary, oh. Eli grabbed my shoulder. Drew, he said, voice shaking, we're up insane. How insane, I said, still staring. Eli's eyes were bright. 300, he whispered. I blinked. No. Yes, he said. Between us. 300. My mouth went dry. Because 300 isn't a good night. It's a headline. It's a life event. It's the kind of number that changes the way people look at you. The kind of number that makes you want to do something dumb, just because you can. Eli turned his face toward me. We leave. Right now. Like you said. I nodded fast. Yes. We colored up. The dealer stacked plaques with smooth hands. The floor supervisor drifted closer, watching the count. Not suspicious. Not yet. Just attentive. At 2:01 a.m., I carried my rack toward the cage, trying to look like a guy who routinely walks through a casino with $250,000 in chips. I do not routinely do that. My heart was steady, but my legs felt floaty. Eli walked beside me, too quiet now. Don't talk, I said. I'm not, he replied. We reached the cage. 2 windows open. 1 cashier counting. 1 cashier idle. We stepped up. I slid my rack under the glass. The cashier's eyes widened for half a second, then he smoothed his face like he'd practiced this. ID, he said. I handed it over. He scanned it, typed something, then paused. He typed again. Then he looked up, not at me, past me. A supervisor approached, suit crisp, expression soft. He smiled. And said, Sir, we're going to need to take a few minutes. A few minutes for what? I asked. Verification. Eli leaned in. Is there an issue? The supervisor's smile didn't change. Not unless you make it one, he said. Then he pressed a button under the counter. A side door opened. A guard appeared. Right this way, sir. I looked at Eli. Eli's face had gone pale. And that's when I realized something else, something colder than the guard's presence. They weren't just slowing us down. They were separating us. Both of us, Eli said quickly. We're together. The supervisor glanced at Eli and gave him a friendly, dismissive smile. Your friend can wait right here, he said. We just need to speak with you, Mr. Carson. Mr. Carson. Hearing my name in that tone made it feel like paperwork. Like a file had opened. Like a story had already been written and I just walked into the last paragraph. I took a slow breath. Can I ask what this is about? I said. The supervisor leaned in slightly, still smiling. It's about your payout, he said. And the fact that it's 2 a.m. and you're trying to cash $300,000. He said it like the number was a situation all by itself. Then he added, softer. And someone upstairs already asked me to ask you where that money came from. And someone upstairs already asked me to ask you where that money came from. The supervisor said it gently. Like he was asking about a dinner reservation. I felt Eli's eyes on me from behind. It came from the table, I said. The supervisor nodded once. Of course it did. Then he gestured toward the open side door. Let's just step inside and clear it up. I glanced at Eli. He looked like he wanted to say something smart and reassuring. Instead he said, I'll be right here. That was the last time I saw him for almost 2 hours. The room they led me into wasn't dramatic. No metal table. No harsh light. Just a small office with a desk, 2 chairs, and a wall-mounted screen showing multiple camera angles of the casino floor. The guard stayed by the door. The supervisor sat down across from me and folded his hands. "Water?" he asked. "I'm fine," I said. He studied me for a second. "You understand why this is happening," he said. "Not really," I replied. He tilted his head slightly. "Mr. Carson, you bought in for $10,000, he said. "You're attempting to cash out for $327,000 and change." I didn't correct him on the exact number. "You've been in the building less than 5 hours. "Yes. "And you were playing at a table with a guest who is currently under review." That landed. "Scott?" I asked. The supervisor didn't confirm. He didn't need to. I leaned back in the chair. "I didn't cheat," I said. He nodded again. "I didn't say you did. But you're acting like I did." He smiled faintly. "I'm acting like my job requires me to understand what just happened." I exhaled slowly. This wasn't aggression. It was procedure. And procedure can take as long as it wants. He tapped a keyboard and the wall screen shifted. Footage from the Baccarat table. Overhead angle. Timestamp, 21:58. "There you are," he said. I watched myself sit down next to Eli. Small buy-in. Conservative bets. We looked harmless. "Walk me through your approach tonight," he said. I hesitated. "Why?" "Because I want to know if you're a gambler," he said calmly, "or something else." I held his gaze. "I'm disciplined," I said. That wasn't the question. "I don't chase," I added. "I don't press unless the conditions make sense." He watched the screen as Scott's bigger bets began. "And what conditions were those?" he asked. "The table energy shifted," I said carefully. His eyes flicked to me. "Explain that." "High-limit rooms are emotional ecosystems," I said. "When someone is chasing and tipping big, it changes the rhythm. People adjust. You either get reckless or you stay structured." "And you stayed structured?" he asked. "For most of it," I said. He paused the footage at a moment where Eli slammed down 25,000. "And this?" he asked. "That was Eli," I said. "And you?" he pressed. "I matched smaller," I said. The supervisor rewound a few seconds. The screen showed me pushing 10,000 forward. I didn't flinch. "That was me," I said. "And that was your largest wager of the night," he said. "Yes." He leaned back. "Do you know what we look for in this room?" he asked. "Card counting?" I said dryly. He didn't smile. "We look for coordination," he said. "We look for signaling. We look for guests who move in tandem when they shouldn't." I felt my pulse pick up. "We weren't signaling," I said. "You were playing next to each other. Pressing together. Leaving together. That's called friendship," I replied. The corner of his mouth twitched. "It's also called team play," he said. "That's not illegal," I said. "It is when it crosses certain lines." "And did we?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he fast-forwarded. The screen showed Scott losing, pressing, tipping. Then the natural 9. The spike. My stack swelling. The supervisor paused it there. "That hand," he said. "Explain why you bet 10,000. I looked at the frozen image. "Because Eli did. Because I felt momentum. Because I wanted to feel big. None of those sound strategic in a room like this. I had a stop-loss rule," I said. "And I was up significantly. The bet was within my risk threshold." He studied me. "You had a stop-loss rule," he repeated. "Yes." "How many buy-ins?" 3. He nodded slowly. "And how many buy-ins were you up at that point?" I didn't answer immediately. "More than 3, I admitted." He leaned back, fingers steepled. "So you broke your own rule." I stared at him. "No," I said. "Stop-loss applies to downside." "And upside?" he asked. "Upside requires discipline too." He didn't argue that. Instead, he changed direction. "You told your girlfriend you were in Phoenix," he said casually. The air left my lungs. "I'm sorry?" I said. He didn't look at me. He looked at the screen. "You told your girlfriend you were in Phoenix," he repeated. "We pulled your player's card information. Your emergency contact listed as Hannah Mercer." My chest tightened. "How do you know what I told her?" I asked. He finally looked at me. "You posted a story from the airport," he said. Caption said PHX grind. I closed my eyes briefly. Eli. It had to be Eli. He'd posted something. The supervisor continued. Location metadata wasn't stripped, he said. It geotagged Las Vegas. My stomach dropped. And Hannah Mercer commented, "Thought you were in Phoenix." Silence. I didn't respond, he added. But someone did. Who? I asked. He tapped the keyboard. The screen shifted to a screenshot of a social media thread. Eli's handle. Replying under my story. Inside joke, Eli had typed. He lives on planes. I felt cold. That's why you're in here, the supervisor said calmly. Not because you won. I stared at him. Because someone upstairs doesn't like surprises, he continued. And when a guest under review is at a table where a $300,000 swing happens, and one of the winners is publicly lying about his location. He let it hang. It becomes a visibility issue. There it was. Not cheating. Not mechanics. Visibility. The word I'd ignored all night. Is Scott under investigation? I asked. The supervisor's face went neutral. I can't discuss other guests. But you just said he's under review. I said you were at a table with a guest under review. Why? I pressed. He didn't answer. Instead, he changed the screen again. Footage of Scott leaning in, talking loud about being in San Jose. The supervisor paused it there. Do you know what happens, he asked, when a high-value guest lies publicly about his whereabouts and then loses six figures? I didn't answer. Wives call, he said. Partners call. Business associates call. Lawyers call. He let that settle. And when lawyers call, they look for patterns. I felt something heavy slide into place. They're going to say it was rigged, I said quietly. They already are, he replied. The room felt smaller. And because you and your friend pressed together during his losses. He added, your win is now attached to his narrative. I ran a hand through my hair. So what happens now? I asked. He folded his hands again. Now we verify. Verify what? That you are who you say you are, he said. That your funds are legitimate. That there was no coordination beyond what is permissible. And if I refuse? I asked. He met my eyes. Then the payout freezes, he said. Simple. No threat. Just a fact. They brought in another man 15 minutes later. Older. Thinner. No smile. He didn't introduce himself. He sat down and opened a folder. Source of funds? He asked immediately. My job, I said. Which is? Data analyst. Employer? I told him. Annual income? I told him. He did the math in his head. And you brought $10,000 in cash tonight? Yes. From? My savings. He nodded once. Documentation? I blinked. For $10,000? I said. He didn't blink back. Yes. I stared at him. Do you carry bank statements in your pocket? I asked. He didn't react. Large payouts trigger reporting thresholds, he said. You know that? Yes. So we document. I exhaled slowly. I can log into my bank, I said. He nodded. Do it. The guard stepped closer as I pulled out my phone. I logged in. Showed balances. Transfers. Savings history. The older man watched like he was reading a weather report. Fine, he said finally. He closed the folder. Then he looked at me for the first time like a person, not a file. You understand, he said, that when someone loses this kind of money, they look for external reasons. I didn't make him bet, I said. No, he agreed. But perception is contagious. I leaned forward. So what are you telling me? He stood. I'm telling you your money is clean, he said. My chest loosened a fraction. But, he added, your timing isn't. They kept me in that room for another hour. Not interrogating. Waiting. Occasionally stepping out to check upstairs. I texted Eli once. M.E., what's happening out there? Eli, they're watching Scott lose his mind. M.E., is he still here? Eli, yeah. And he's yelling. That was bad. At 3:11 a.m., the supervisor came back in. He looked slightly less relaxed. Mr. Carson, he said, Scott is claiming collusion. My stomach dropped. With who? I asked. With you and your friend. That's insane, I said. He's down over six figures, the supervisor replied. Insane is relative. What exactly is he saying? I asked. That you and your friend were signaling each other, he said. That you knew when to press. I stared at him. It's baccarat, I said. There's nothing to signal. He didn't disagree. But he believes there is, he said. And because of his player tier, he added, we are obligated to review. How long does review take? I asked. He didn't answer immediately. Longer than you'd like, he said. I leaned back in the chair. So my money is just sitting there? Yes. Can he block it? He can't block it, the supervisor said carefully. But he can slow it, I laughed once, short and humorless. Because he lost? Because he matters, he said. There it was again. Not fairness. Not rules. Importance. Scott's tear mattered more than my clean play. That's how these rooms work. At 3:26 a.m., they finally let me out of the office. Eli stood up immediately when he saw me. What happened? He asked. They're reviewing, I said. Reviewing what? Everything. Eli's face drained. Are we in trouble? No, I said. But the money's frozen. How long? He asked. I don't know. Eli ran both hands through his hair. Scott's losing it, he whispered. He's telling anyone who'll listen that the table was dirty. Was he drunk? I asked. Very. That helps, I said. Does it? Eli asked. I didn't answer. Because I wasn't sure. We didn't go back to the table. We didn't go to the room. We didn't go anywhere. We stood near the high limit entrance like two guys waiting for test results. At 4:02 a.m., Scott stormed past us. He didn't look at me directly. But he slowed just enough. Enjoy it while you can, he muttered. Then he walked toward the exit with two hosts trailing him like damage control. Eli whispered, what does that mean? It means he's not done, I said. At 4:19 a.m., the supervisor approached us again. Gentlemen, he said. My heart ticked up. Scott has elected to file a formal complaint. Eli's mouth fell open. For what? Alleged coordinated play. I felt the heat rise in my face. That's ridiculous, I said. It may be, the supervisor replied. But it triggers a secondary review. How secondary? Eli asked. The supervisor's smile was gone now. 48 to 72 hours, he said. Eli swore under his breath. You're holding $327,000 for 3 days? He asked. Yes, the supervisor said. I stared at him. Can we at least get a partial payout? I asked. He shook his head. Not until compliance clears it. And if they don't? Eli asked. The supervisor held my gaze. Then it escalates. The word sat heavy. Escalates how? I asked. He didn't answer that. Instead he said, you are free to leave the property. I laughed once. Free, I repeated. He nodded. Yes, he said. For now. Back in our room, the adrenaline finally drained. Eli paced. This is insane, he said. We did nothing wrong. I know. They can't just hold it. They can, I said. Eli stopped pacing. What if he sues? He asked. For what? For claiming it was rigged. That's between him and the casino, I said. And we're in the middle, Eli shot back. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my phone. There were 3 missed calls from Hannah. My chest tightened. What? Eli asked. She knows I'm not in Phoenix, I said. How? Your story, I said. Eli's face fell. Oh. Yeah, I said. My phone buzzed again. Hannah. I answered. Hey, I said. Silence. Then, where are you? Vegas, I said. Another silence. Why? I closed my eyes. I won, I said. A long pause. How much? She asked quietly. I swallowed. 327,000. Silence. Then she laughed once. Not happy. Not impressed. Just stunned. And you lied about it, she said. Yes. Are you coming home? She asked. I can't, I said. Why? Because they froze it. Her voice sharpened. They what? Someone at the table is claiming something, I said. They're reviewing. Hannah didn't speak for a few seconds. Then she said something that cut deeper than the cage supervisor's smile. You always say you play small so nothing can blow up, she said. I didn't respond. And now, she continued, you went big. I stared at the carpet. Yes. And it blew up, she said. Yes. Silence. Then, call me when you know if it's real, she said. The line went dead. At 5:12 a.m., I got a text from an unknown number. Unknown, you should have left at midnight. My stomach tightened. I showed Eli. Who is that? He asked. I didn't answer. Another text came. Unknown, you're attached to something bigger than you think. Eli looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. What did you get us into? He asked. I didn't get us into anything, I said. But even as I said it, I felt the shift. Because this wasn't just about a drunk guy complaining anymore. This felt like leverage. Like somebody upstairs didn't just want verification. They wanted control. And somewhere between the natural 9 and the side door at the cage, I'd crossed from a big win into a story that wasn't done with me yet. The unknown number hit me again at 5:18 a.m. while Eli was still pacing holes into the carpet. Unknown, don't go to sleep. Unknown, they'll call you before sunrise. Eli snatched my phone out of my hand like he could intimidate it. This is psycho, he muttered. Block it. I took the phone back. If I block it and it's the casino, I miss the call. It's not the casino, Eli said. That's not how casinos text. I stared at the screen. He was right. The cage doesn't text like a person who knows your pulse. And the part that kept echoing was the first message: you should have left at midnight. That wasn't compliance language. That was table language. Someone who'd watched. Someone who thought they knew the right exit. I exhaled slowly and said, we need to figure out who knows what. Eli scoffed. The casino knows. Scott knows. Your girlfriend knows. That's enough. It's not enough, I said. Eli stopped pacing. Drew, what are you afraid of? I looked at him. Not the money. Not really. I was afraid of the thing that happens after a big win, when everyone decides it has to mean something. I swallowed. I'm afraid they turned me into the easiest explanation, I said. Eli's face tightened. They can't. They can, I corrected. They already started. Eli rubbed his temples like he could massage reality into something manageable. Okay, he said. We wait. We let them clear it. We leave. And if Scott escalates, I said, and starts telling a story that includes us? Eli stared at me. We didn't do anything. Truth doesn't stop stories, I said. That landed. Eli didn't argue it. He just looked tired. At 6:03 a.m. the phone rang. Not unknown. A private number. Eli froze mid-step like he'd been caught stealing. I answered. Hello? A woman's voice, calm and clipped. Mr. Carson? This is Maribel with the Sable Crown, Guest Financial Services. Her tone was polite enough to be a script. Okay, I said. We're continuing review of your payout, she said. I need to confirm your current location. I blinked. In my hotel room. On property? She asked. Yes. Good, she said. Do not leave the property until contacted again. Eli mouthed, what? I kept my voice steady. Am I being detained? A pause, small, careful. No, Maribel said. You are not. This is a request to keep the process simple. Okay, I said. I also need to ask if you've been contacted by any third parties regarding your payout, she continued. My stomach tightened. Eli leaned in, listening hard. I said, define third parties. Maribel didn't miss a beat. Anyone who is not the casino. I stared at Eli. Eli whispered, say no. I hesitated. And the hesitation was the answer she was trained to hear. Maribel's tone stayed the same. Mr. Carson? I got texts, I said. From an unknown number. Silence for half a beat. Then Maribel said, do not respond. I haven't, I lied. Eli's eyes went wide. Maribel continued. Forward screenshots of the messages to the number I'm about to provide. Do not engage. Do not delete. Are they from the casino? I asked. No, she said immediately. We do not communicate that way. That confirmed the cold feeling in my gut. Maribel added, we will contact you again within 2 hours. 2 hours, I repeated. Yes, she said. And Mr. Carson, I waited. Her tone softened a fraction, not warm, but less robotic. Keep your friend close, she said. Don't make this public. Then she hung up. Eli stared at me. What did she mean, keep your friend close? He asked. I showed him my phone. Eli read the unknown messages, jaw tightening with each line. This is insane, he said. Send the screenshots, I replied. To her number? Yes. Eli shook his head. This is how you get your money stuck forever. I looked at him. You'd rather handle an extortionist alone? Eli opened his mouth, then closed it. He didn't like me saying the word out loud, but it fit. He sank onto the bed. Okay, he said. Send it. I sent the screenshots to Maribel's number. The moment they went through, my phone buzzed again. Unknown, smart. You told them. Unknown, doesn't matter. Eli stared at the new message like it had crawled across the screen. How does he? Eli started. I don't know, I said. But I did know what it meant. Somebody was watching closer than we wanted. At 7:11 a.m., There was a knock at the door. Not housekeeping. Not gentle. 3 firm knocks like punctuation. Eli and I looked at each other. "Don't open it," Eli whispered. The knock came again. I walked to the door and checked the peephole. 2 men in suits. A woman behind them with a tablet. Not security uniforms. Corporate. Compliance energy. I opened the door just enough. The woman smiled professionally. "Mr. Carson?" "Yes. I'm Maribel," she said. "May we come in?" Eli stared at me like I'd lost my mind. I stepped aside. They came in like they owned the air. Maribel didn't sit immediately. She looked around the room quickly, bags, phones, laptops, then nodded to herself. One of the men, mid-40s, close-cropped hair, said, "I'm Cal, Risk Operations." The other man didn't introduce himself. He stayed near the door, eyes quiet. Maribel finally sat across from me at the small table. "Thank you for cooperating," she said. Eli sat on the bed, arms crossed, radiating resentment. Maribel glanced at Eli. "You're Mr. Vale?" Eli blinked. "Yes." Cal opened a folder on the table. "Here's where we are," Maribel said. "Your payout has been flagged due to a complaint by another guest and the size of the transaction." I nodded. "I understand." Maribel's eyes stayed calm. "You also received messages from someone attempting to exploit that flag." "Yes," I said. Cal spoke for the first time. "Those messages aren't random," he said. Eli scoffed. "No kidding." Cal ignored the sarcasm. "Someone in the guest network is pressuring winners to panic," Cal continued. "It's happening more than you think." My stomach tightened. "So you've seen this?" Maribel nodded. "Yes." Eli leaned forward. "So clear the payout." Maribel didn't flinch. "We can't just clear while an active allegation exists." Cal slid a page toward me. "It's a hold notice," he said. 72 hours is standard. "But there's an option." I stared at the paper. "What option?" I asked. Maribel said, "Wire." Eli laughed sharply. "That's not an option. That's still money." Maribel nodded. "It is. But it moves differently." Cal explained, "If we pay you out at the cage, you leave with cash or chips. That's physical. It's visible. It draws attention. A wire is compliance controlled." Eli frowned. "So you're saying you'll wire it now?" Maribel held up a hand. "Not now. But we can begin the process so it's ready the moment review clears." I exhaled. "And what about the complaint?" Cal leaned in slightly. "Scott is alleging coordinated play. He's also alleging the dealer influenced outcomes." Eli snapped, "That's insane." Maribel nodded. "It is not credible." Eli blinked. "Then why are we here?" Maribel's tone stayed even. "Because Scott is a high-value guest with influence. When he complains, we document." Cal added, "We're not treating his claim as truth. We're treating it as a trigger." I stared at Maribel. "So what do you need from me?" Maribel folded her hands. "We need you to stay quiet and stay reachable. We also need you to understand the second complication." "What second complication?" I asked. Maribel's eyes held mine. "Your identity is being circulated." My chest tightened. "Where?" Cal said, "In private groups. Messaging threads. People trying to identify who took money off Scott." Eli's face went pale. "That's not public," Maribel said, "but it can become public." Eli blurted, "By who?" Maribel's gaze flicked toward my phone on the table. "By someone who wants to monetize your panic," she said. I swallowed. Cal slid another sheet toward me. "Change your phone number," he said. Eli stared. "Are you serious?" Cal nodded. "Today. Not tomorrow." I laughed once, not because it was funny. Because it was surreal. "Why would I change my number?" I asked, "over a casino payout?" Maribel's voice softened a fraction. "Because it's not about the payout anymore," she said. "It's about narrative." That word again. Narrative. Cal continued, "Scott's people are looking for angles. If someone convinces you to say the wrong thing, text, call, email, it becomes proof. Not truth. Proof." I swallowed hard. "So what do I do?" Maribel slid her tablet closer. "Show me your social media," she said. My stomach dropped. "What?" Maribel's face stayed neutral. "Mr. Carson, your post from the airport is already in circulation." Eli groaned. "Jesus." Maribel's eyes stayed on me. "Delete it." I hesitated. Not because I wanted it up. Because deleting it felt like admission. But I'd learned that in these ecosystems, the move that feels most honest can still be the smartest. I opened my account. The story had already expired, but Eli's reply thread still existed in screenshots and comments. Delete the post, Maribel repeated. I did. Then Maribel said, now private everything. No tags. No location. No explanations. Eli muttered, this is ridiculous. Maribel looked at him. This is normal at these numbers. That shut him up. Cal stood. We'll call you when review clears. If you receive any other contact, forward it. Do not respond. Maribel paused at the door. And Mr. Carson? She said. Yes. Her tone was calm but firm. If you leave the property before clearance, you'll make it harder for us to protect you. Protect me from what? I asked. Maribel held my gaze. From becoming the easiest story, she said. Then they were gone. The second the door shut, Eli exploded. This is insane, he said. Protect you? Like you're a witness? I sat down hard in the chair. I told you, I said quietly. Big wins don't stay just money. Eli paced again, faster this time. We should have cashed smaller. That wasn't the problem, I said. Eli snapped, then what's the problem? I looked at him. Scott. Eli stopped. Scott is a drunk loser. Yes, I said. And he has more leverage than us. Eli stared at me like he wanted to argue, then realized he couldn't. He sighed, deflating. I'm calling my cousin, he said. No, I said immediately. Eli frowned. Why? Because if your cousin's stake is tied to this and he starts talking, that's more mouths, I said. More narrative. Eli clenched his jaw. So I'm supposed to just sit here? Yeah, I said. We sit. Eli stared at the carpet. Then, quietly, Hannah. I swallowed. Yeah. You're going to lose her, he said. Maybe, I replied. It was the first honest thing I'd said in hours. At 9:46 a.m., Hannah called again. I stared at her name until Eli said, answer it. I answered. Hey, I said. Hannah didn't waste time. Send me a photo of the Phoenix Hotel key. My stomach clenched. Hannah. Do it, she said. Or just tell me you lied because you wanted to gamble. I exhaled slowly. I lied, I said. Silence. Then, softer, why? I looked at Eli. He looked away. I wanted a win, I said. A real win. Hannah laughed once, bitter. So you're chasing feelings now? No, I said. I chased a number. And you got it, she said. Congratulations. Are you coming home? I can't, I said. The money, she said flatly. Yes. Hannah's voice sharpened. You're still choosing it. I swallowed. I'm trying to make sure it's real, I said. Silence again. Then she said, I saw a comment thread. My skin went cold. What thread? Someone posted a screenshot of your face, she said. Not the casino. A group. One of my coworkers follows some Vegas Nights account. Eli's head snapped toward me. Hannah continued, it says, this guy took Scott for 300. It has your name from your profile. My throat tightened. That's not, I started. It doesn't matter what it is, Hannah said. It matters that it exists. I stared at the wall. Hannah, I said, I didn't do anything illegal. That's not the question, she replied. Then, quietly, did you lie to me because you didn't trust me, or because you liked having a secret? I felt my stomach drop. Because if I answered wrong, I'd be wrong forever. I didn't trust you with my fear, I said. That's what it was. Hannah didn't speak. I rushed, it wasn't about cheating. Or girls. Or anything like that. It was about me wanting to feel like I could fix things. Hannah's voice came small. Fix what? I stared at the carpet. My life, I admitted. Silence. Then Hannah said, if you come home with the money, it doesn't erase that you left. I know, I said. And if you don't come home with it, she added, it means you left for nothing. That line cut clean. I didn't have an answer. Hannah, I said softly, I'm sorry. She exhaled slowly. Call me when you're on the plane, she said. Okay, I replied. But she didn't say I love you. She just hung up. At 12:17 p.m., the unknown number texted again. Unknown, Scott's not done. Unknown, he wants names. Unknown, yours is easy. Eli read it and swore. Who is this? He asked. A host? A dealer? One of Scott's guys? I don't know, I said. Eli threw his hands up. Then why aren't we responding? Because Maribel told us not to, I said. Eli paced. Maribel isn't paying my rent. I looked up. Eli. He stopped. This is the part where you talk yourself into doing something stupid, I said. Eli's jaw tightened. I just want the money.
So do I said.
Eli stared at me. Then, quieter, my cousin's expecting his cut. There it was. The real external pressure. Not Scott. Not the casino. Eli's stake. Did you tell him we're frozen? I asked. Eli hesitated. That's a yes, I said. Eli snapped, of course I told him. It's his money too. I exhaled slowly. What did he say? I asked. Eli looked away. He said if we don't get paid, he wants to know why. And he wants to talk to the casino. My stomach tightened. That's exactly what we can't do, I said. Eli's voice rose. Then what do we do? I stared at him. We wait, I said again. And you keep him quiet. Eli laughed, sharp and panicked. How? Tell him compliance, I said. Tell him the exact words. Standard review. Nothing else. Eli stared at me like he wanted to argue. Then his phone buzzed. He looked down. His face changed. What? I asked. Eli swallowed. He's here. My stomach dropped. Where? Eli held up the phone. A selfie from outside the Sable Crown. Eli's cousin, Marcus, grinning like it was a vacation. Caption, let's get paid. I felt the room tilt. That's visibility, I said. Eli whispered, I didn't tell him where we are. I stared at the selfie again. Then at Eli. He found us, I said. Eli shook his head, breathing fast. How? I didn't answer. Because the answer was ugly. When a lot of money gets frozen, it attracts attention like blood in water. Marcus banged on our door at 1:04 p.m. Not 3 polite knocks. A fist. Eli opened it before I could stop him. Marcus stepped in wearing sunglasses indoors, grin wide. Boys, he said. I heard it got sticky. Eli tried to laugh. It's fine. It's just. Compliance, Marcus finished for him, like he'd practiced the word. Yeah. I know. I stared at Marcus. How did you find us? Marcus shrugged. Vegas is small. Eli snapped, it's not small. It is when you're dealing with the same people, Marcus said, smile still on. That made my skin prickle. Marcus looked at me. Drew, right? Yes, I said cautiously. Marcus nodded like he liked my posture. You're the calm one. Eli said, Marcus. Marcus held up a hand. Relax. I'm here to help. By doing what? I asked. Marcus took off his sunglasses and finally let his smile fade a little. By making sure the casino doesn't screw you, he said. Eli exhaled like he'd been waiting for that sentence. I didn't. Maribel told us not to talk to anyone, I said. Marcus laughed softly. Maribel. He said her name like it was a joke. You know her? Eli asked. Marcus shrugged. I know the type. I held his gaze. We're handling it. Marcus stepped closer, voice lowering. You're not, he said. You're waiting. Waiting is what they want. That's not true, I said. Marcus tilted his head. Drew, do you know what a high-value complaint does to a cage? It slows it, I said. It gives them an excuse, Marcus corrected. And while you're waiting, Scott is calling his people. You think he's done? He's looking for someone to blame who isn't him. Eli swallowed hard. Marcus turned to Eli. How much is your stake? Eli hesitated. Marcus smiled. A lot. Enough that you're sweating. Eli said, Marcus, stop. Marcus looked back at me. Here's what's going to happen, he said. You're going to get offered a settlement. Not the full amount. Maybe they try to shave you. Eli's eyes widened. They can do that? Marcus shrugged. They can do anything if you accept it. I leaned forward. And your plan is what? Walk down there and threaten them. Marcus smiled again. Not threaten, he said. Remind. Remind them of what? I asked. Marcus's smile stayed, but his eyes cooled. That you didn't come alone, he said. My stomach tightened. That's not help, I said. Marcus shrugged. It's leverage. No, I said. That's escalation. Marcus stared at me for a beat, then nodded slowly. Okay, he said. You're smart. Eli snapped, Marcus. Marcus held up both hands. Fine. You want to be clean? Be clean. He pointed at my phone. Who's texting you? I didn't answer. Marcus's eyes sharpened. Someone's texting you. Eli blurted, unknown number. Marcus nodded like that confirmed something. That's Scott's circle, he said immediately. Eli blinked. How do you know? Marcus shrugged. Because they're doing the same thing they always do. They create pressure. They look for cracks. I stared at Marcus. If you know all this, why are you here? Marcus's smile returned, thinner. Because, he said, if your money gets released, my money gets released. There it was. No hero. Just aligned incentives. Marcus looked at Eli. I'm going downstairs. You can come with me or you can keep hiding. Eli looked at me. I shook my head. No. Eli swallowed. Drew. Eli, I said, if you let him make noise, they'll punish you for it. Marcus laughed. You think they punish noise? They punish weakness. I stood up. Get out, I said. Marcus blinked once. Then he smiled like he respected it. Okay, he said. I'll wait outside. When you change your mind, call me. He slid his sunglasses on and walked out like he owned the hallway. Eli stared at the door after it shut. We're dead, he whispered. No, I said. We're not dead. We're contained. Eli's eyes were frantic. Contained by who? I looked down at my phone. By systems. By stories. By people who decide what's believable. At 3:08 p.m., Maribel called again. Mr. Carson, she said, review has progressed. Okay, I said, trying to keep my voice level. Scott's complaint is being classified as non-credible, she said. My chest loosened. Eli mouthed, yes. Maribel continued, however, due to third-party contact attempts, we are moving your payout to wire only. Fine, I said quickly. Do it. We need you downstairs in 1 hour with 2 forms of identification, she said. And we will require you to sign a confidentiality acknowledgement. Eli mouthed, what does that mean? I asked, confidentiality about what? Maribel's tone stayed calm. That you will not publicly discuss internal review processes or other guests. I exhaled. Okay, I said. We'll be there. Maribel added, do not bring anyone else. My stomach tightened. Anyone else, I repeated. Yes, she said. No additional parties. If someone appears with you who is not listed on the session, the meeting ends. I understood immediately. Marcus. Maribel knew. Or suspected. Or had seen him. Understood, I said. One more thing, Maribel said. Yes. If you're being contacted again, she said, it's likely because Scott believes he can reverse narrative by creating doubt. He can't reverse your payout. He can only damage your life. I swallowed. Maribel's voice softened slightly. Don't give him material, she said. Then she hung up. I stared at Eli. We have an hour, I said. Eli nodded, breathing fast. And Marcus? Eli asked. I said, we do not bring Marcus. Eli swallowed. He's going to lose it. Then he loses it in the hallway, I said. Not at the cage. Marcus was still outside when we left the room. Leaning on the wall like a bouncer, scrolling his phone. He looked up and smiled. Ready, he asked. No, I said. Marcus's smile faded. Excuse me? The casino said no third parties, I said. You're not coming. Marcus laughed. I'm not a third party. I'm family. You're not on the session, I replied. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Eli, tell him. Eli looked at me, then at Marcus. Marcus, Eli said quietly, they'll kill the wire if you show up. Marcus scoffed. That's not real. Eli's voice tightened. It's real. Marcus stared at Eli like he'd been betrayed. You're scared, Marcus said. Eli didn't deny it. Marcus turned to me. You're making him soft. I held Marcus's gaze. No, I said. I'm keeping him paid. Marcus's jaw flexed. Then he did something that made my stomach drop. He lifted his phone. I could make one post, he said calmly, and this turns into a whole thing. You want that? Eli went pale. I took a step closer to Marcus, keeping my voice low. If you make a post, I said, you don't get paid. You get involved. Marcus smiled slightly. I'm already involved. No, I said. You're adjacent. There's a difference. Marcus watched me for a long beat. Then he lowered his phone and shrugged. Fine, he said. But you're not walking away from this without paying me. Eli whispered, we will. Marcus pointed down the hall. Go, he said. Get your wire. Then he added, quiet enough that only I could hear. And tell your girlfriend you won the money before she hears it from someone else. My stomach tightened. Because that sounded less like advice and more like a reminder that Hannah wasn't safe from the narrative either. The meeting room behind the cage was clean and bright. Maribel sat at a table with Cal and a different security guard. No smiles this time. Just business. She slid paperwork toward me. Confirm your legal name, she said. I did. Confirm your address, she said. I did. Confirm your bank details, she said. I did. Eli sat beside me, leg bouncing like a piston. Cal looked at Eli. Mr. Vale, you will receive a separate wire. Eli blinked. Separate? Yes, Cal said. Your session is linked but distinct. Eli swallowed. Okay. Maribel tapped the confidentiality page. Sign here. I read it. It wasn't a gag order about the casino's existence. It was a tight agreement not to discuss internal processes or name other guests. Which was fine. I didn't want to talk about Scott. I didn't want Scott to talk about me. I signed. Eli signed. Maribel watched our pens. Then she said, your wires will initiate by end of business today. Funds typically settle within 1 to 2 banking days. Eli exhaled like his lungs had been held hostage. So it's real, Eli said. Maribel looked at him. It's real, she confirmed. I asked, are we clear to leave? Maribel nodded. Yes. Cal added, and Mr. Carson, change your number. I nodded. Then Maribel said something that didn't feel scripted. Congratulations, she said quietly. And I'm sorry. I held her gaze. Sorry for what? Maribel's expression stayed calm. For what winning attracts, she said. Then she stood, and the meeting ended. We left Vegas that night. Not because we wanted to. Because staying felt like letting the city keep its hand on our shoulder. On the ride to the airport, Eli finally went quiet. He stared out the window at the strip like he was watching a movie he didn't want to finish. I can't believe this, he said softly. Believe it, I replied. Eli glanced at me. Are you okay? I laughed once. No, I said. Eli nodded like he understood. Then he said, Hannah. Yeah, I replied. Eli hesitated. What are you going to tell her? The truth, I said. Eli scoffed gently. All of it. Enough, I corrected. The parts that matter. Eli looked down. I hate that my cousin showed up.
So do I said.
Eli's voice dropped. He's going to want more. He'll get his cut, I said. And then you set a boundary. Eli laughed quietly. You're big on boundaries for a guy who lied about Phoenix. That stung because it was clean. I didn't respond. At the airport, I called Hannah. She answered immediately. Are you on the plane? She asked. Not yet, I said. But I'm at the airport. Silence. Then, did you get the money? It's being wired, I said. So you still don't have it, she replied. Not yet, I admitted. Hannah exhaled slowly. Drew, she said, I don't care about the number right now. I care about whether I can trust you. My throat tightened. I know, I said. Hannah's voice got quieter. Do you understand how it felt seeing your face in some Vegas account thread? I do now, I said. Silence. Then she asked, why did you lie? I stared at the departures board. Because I didn't want to negotiate my fear, I said. I wanted to solve it and come back like nothing happened. Hannah didn't respond for a few beats. Then she said, that's not partnership. I know, I said again. And now, she added, you won a huge amount of money and the first thing it did was make you smaller. I swallowed hard. Because she was right. I'm coming home, I said. We'll talk. In person. Hannah's voice stayed steady. Okay. Then, after a pause, if the wire hits, don't think it buys silence. I won't, I said. She hung up. The wire hit Monday afternoon. Both of them. My bank notification popped up while I was sitting at my kitchen table, staring at the same spot where Hannah used to drop her keys when she came over. Incoming wire, $327,140.22. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like a loaded object placed carefully in my life. Eli called 10 seconds later. It hit, he said, voice shaking. It hit. Yeah, I said. We did it, he whispered. We did, I replied. Then Eli said, quieter, Marcus is already texting me. I exhaled. Pay him, I said. And then go dark. Eli swallowed. And you? I stared at the wire confirmation. I'm going to tell Hannah I'm not Phoenix, I said. Eli blinked. She knows. I'm going to tell her why, I corrected. Eli was quiet. Then he said, Drew. Was it worth it? I didn't answer right away. Because worth it is a word people use when they want a simple ending. This didn't have one. I don't know yet, I said honestly. Eli exhaled. Okay. Then, talk soon. He hung up. That night, Hannah came over. Not smiling. Not furious. Controlled. The same way Maribel had been controlled. She sat across from me at the table and looked at my face like she was checking for someone else underneath. You got it, she said. Yes, I replied. Hannah nodded slightly. Okay, she said. Now tell me the truth without trying to sell it. So I did. I told her about Eli's pitch. About the table. About Scott. About the cage door. About the freeze. About the texts. About Marcus showing up. I didn't dramatize it. I didn't soften it. I just laid it out. When I finished, Hannah stared at her hands for a long time. Then she looked up. You know what's messed up, she said quietly. What? I asked. Hannah's voice was flat. The money isn't the scariest part. I nodded. The scariest part, she continued, is how quickly you accepted a life where strangers could message you and you'd still choose to keep playing. I swallowed hard. I wanted control, I said. Hannah shook her head. You wanted escape, she corrected. Silence stretched. Then Hannah said, I'm not breaking up with you tonight. My chest loosened a fraction. But, she added immediately, we're not pretending this is a win story either. I nodded. Okay. Hannah leaned back. Here's what I need, she said. What? I asked. No more secret trips, she said. No more Phoenix. No more convenient geography. Okay, I said. And if you ever gamble again, she added, I know before you buy the plane ticket. I nodded. Hannah's eyes stayed on mine. And you don't use that money to make me forget this, she said. I won't, I replied. Hannah exhaled slowly. Then she said something I didn't expect. Show me the wire, she said. I turned my phone toward her. She looked at the number. Didn't smile. Didn't flinch. Just nodded. Okay, she said. Now we decide what it actually changes. I stared at her. What do you want it to change? I asked. Hannah's voice softened slightly. I want it to buy stability, she said. Not ego. I nodded. That was as close as she was going to get to calling it anything good. 2 weeks later, I got one last text from an unknown number. Different number this time. Short. Unknown, you got lucky. Unknown, next time, they won't let you walk. I stared at it for a long time. Then I forwarded it to Maribel's number like she told me to. And I deleted it. Not because I thought deletion erased anything. But because I understood something now. Visibility is a tax. And if you're not careful, the tax becomes the whole story. The money stayed real. The fear stayed real. The complication didn't cleanly resolve. Scott never apologized. Marcus never became reasonable. Eli didn't suddenly transform into a monk. And Hannah didn't suddenly trust me because my bank balance changed. But the wire did one thing I can't deny. It forced my life into the open. No more Phoenix. No more don't worry. No more pretending my fear was private and harmless. Because the moment I walked into that high-limit room, the only thing I actually won was a number. Everything else came after. At 2 a.m., they flagged the win. At home, I learned what the flag really meant. Not that the casino thought I'd cheated. That the world had noticed me. And once the world notices you, it starts asking for proof you never planned to provide.
Under the neon moon, there's always another hand to play. Subscribe.